Is the Debo experience exhausting at times?
I love
running Debo.
I'm trying to think about your first memory ever.
This is a great experience.
You know, like, we live in our heaven.
Man is a worm and food for worms.
That is the dichotomy of, you know.
This is the paradox. He is out of nature and hopelessly in it.
Completely on point.
He is dual, up in the stars and yet housed in a heart-pumping, breath-gasping body that once belonged to a fish and still has the gill marks to prove it. And I do think that there are correlations with death.
Huh. I'm not really worried about any God. You know, you are a God in that. I mean, if you're deities, you are above everything around you, the nature. I don't really worry about the afterlife. If I live my life in accordance to what I believe to be good and to be good and to be good, and you know, it comes from my whole, you know, faith in people. I mean, it literally started as a joke. I mean, I think my spirituality lies in people. You know? My first recollection of it probably was kindergarten. You know,
there's been a confluence of ideas.
Oh, you're not religious. That means you're not spiritual. I always deal with this, you know, and that's completely wrong. For some reason, we're the, you know, gods among, you know, the world. You know. Basically, we've created it. You know, and however, you know, it happened.
Right.
But
like we've created God. We came from different families.
You know, this, you know, nature. You know, you've created, you know, planes in the sky. You know, buildings around you and stuff. Things that no other organism.
And I think that's an interesting thing to think about because of an extent. What I'm getting at is I want to know what it was like to grow up cold.
Yeah.
And you know, it's interesting because obviously I see entities as like spinning, and Hempsteads, and there's the Debo, and then mine, and then mine. Somehow,
right,
like the same. You know, and
it's it being alive.
We caught on to
first memory. You know, being alive. You know, like born in, you know, because I've lived.
Ability to like relate with others. You don't make enemies.
No, I would say no. I don't know. People I've ever met in my life, I think it's also a flaw of mine. You know, it's not that I feel that I'm so great. Yeah, right.
What goes on in the Debo experience?
I have to picture darkness. Like, I have to think of black, and I have to think of silence. I'd like to know why things. I'm just thinking through just random off the handle shit that just comes to mind. That happens all the time. It's really tough for me to go to bed unless I'm really tired. I gotta wake up early. I mean, it's just something I have to do. It's exhausting. If you promise something, you know, you have to follow through with it. Like my social and work life, figure that out because, you know, it's like, fuck, I have, you know, friends that are like, oh, where the fuck were you, man? Like, you know, it's like, fuck, I playing the tuba. I stole a ring. All right, so who am I going to let down this week? You know, and I was like, fuck, I let down the least amount of people as possible. Like, I can't do it. You know, like,
right.
You're not that special. Constantly prioritize. I told you to come out, you got work, basketball team, softball team, flag football. No, I let her down, you know. Fuck, I don't want to let down my parents, you know, and I have clients that I have to satisfy. Like, I'm an ordained minister, you know, like, you know, I said I would go rock climbing, and well, I had something else. You know, I can't go rock climbing. Like,
you have overcommitted.
I've overcommitted all the time. And it happens, you know, that's
I know the feeling.
I had the opportunity to be a part of it, and it was an amazing experience. I really have no problem going at it alone. No other place I would rather have been. As much as I am a social person, I know people at my job that they have to go to lunch with me. I don't. You know, I deal with people all day long. I just, you know, probably not that, but I mean that. You know, really, no, he's really not that bad of a guy. Like a 4.0 student, really did. I mean, I firmly believe I could have been, as much as I hate to admit it, if I would have had Adderall. Yeah. You have a mechanism to release a lot of that energy. A lot better of a student than I was. I think, not really bad, but I'd make dumb decisions. They prosecuted me to the fullest extent that they could. You know, who gives a fuck? Active, yeah. Bennett, I almost got kicked out of the school. And that really, you know, sums up, you know, a lot of how I view my life, you know? Like,
yeah.
Oh, I know, I really want to be there.
Do you think there's value in those moments?
Yeah. It'd be like,